Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is working with the Minecraft Studio files from Once Upon a Time, and of course that is your fabulous Two Red Robins collections. And on that USB you're going to find Minecraft Studio files, your SVG files, to of course accompany that fabulous collection from Two Red Robins. Now, in today's demonstration, I'd like to share with you a few hints and a few techniques that you can use to really excel and push this collection to the limits to do some beautiful projects. And of course, in that, I'm going to be able to create a background that I know our lovely Mel is then going to use within her SVG video. So definitely check that one out after or before this or whenever you want to. And she's going to use the background that I've created to then be able to create a beautiful project and combine the two together, because that's what this is all about, is utilizing your dyes, your Minecraft Studio files, and of course, those SVG cutting files. But again, if you like to use just one sector of those three genres, that's fine. You can use just one of those, but then you know that you've got the option to dip your toe into each one whenever you want to, because it's all there within one collection. So to start with, I'm going to go straight into the PC. I'm going to show you a little bit what's on the USB, of course, as a little bit of a refresher, and then we'll get straight into a project and build one together. So I'm going to take you over to the computer, and you can see straight away I've already made my page landscape. So typically when you open Minecraft Studio, it will open Portrait. And again, if you've not seen how to do that, all you do is go into Print up here and use the Portrait and Landscape, and that there will allow you to change it, of course. I've got it on Landscape at the moment, but you can change that around, suiting you whichever way you like. But I'm going to keep it Landscape purposefully because of the project we're going to create. Now on this particular USB, again, you've got all of your files. You've got scene building, you've got reflections, you've got your digital stamps, backgrounds, and scenes. So there's literally a taste of absolutely everything in an abundance within this collection. So in your scene building, again, you've got your index sheets. Now this gives you an archive of all of the artwork that you'll find in this collection. And I always use this, especially when I'm creating videos like this, and of course creating projects at home for family and friends. You can see then that I actually can look over this and think, right, okay, I know I want to use this file, I want to use this one, and you can make a little note really of what files you're using along the way, especially if you want to replicate a project. Because every single time you grab a file out onto your mat, like this little one here, within your layers, it'll tell you exactly which one it is. So you can almost create an archive yourself. But I know a lot of you at home do print some of these index sheets and actually create your own books lined with all of the content, knowing that you can use those as and when you want to. Okay, so I'm going to go and just select all of that and delete it off my page. Now, of course, from your scenes and scene building, you've got all of this to play with. I mean, look at all of these different scenes we're going to work with. I'm going to show you actually how you can create a scene and mirror it to be able to build a full one all together. But look how much there's to go with. I mean, number 39 there, if I just scroll through and just show you how vivid and vibrant the colours are on this USB. They're so striking and strong, but so subtle at the same time, which is a really interesting combination, because you've got really bright, bold colours, but being portrayed in a very sympathetic, majestic way, which allows you to have real sense of serenity, but also true artwork and detail within your design. So with something like this, I'm just going to then take you through to the reflections. Now, of course, this file on here is for our die cutters. So if you've got your dies from your from your collection of Once Upon a Time, you can then print these out and cut them. But that also means that having all of these on the USB is like an added bonus, because you can go into your effects, you can change the hue, you can change the rainbows of these, all the colors, and then you can create all of your reflections in any way, shape, size, color that you want, meaning that you are the true designer with Minecraft Studio. And then we're going to backgrounds. Now, of course, it wouldn't be the same without our backgrounds. We've got colorways, we've got textures, we've got repetitive pattern, we've got detailed design in here, all to go complementary with all of your cards, your projects, whether these are going to be printed onto rice papers, onto vellums, you name it, you can do some stunning effects with these. You've almost got like a bird's eye view of the waters with something like this, or it could appear like a marbled texture for a placemat. Really interesting that taking a singular patterned paper can have so many different uses. I mean, one like this, for this one for example, you could go straight into the saturation and make it black and white, and that there is a really nice pattern to have as a card shape, maybe just with an initial on the top. So always look outside the box when it comes to your backing papers on these USBs, because every single one has its uses. So I'm just going to take those off, and we're going to start to build a design with this, because we've had a little look through some of the content that you're getting on here. Now, within those scenes, I'm going to have a look at this one. And I wanted to use this one because, again, with this, we've almost got a full scene here, but then it sort of comes to a sudden end. And there's reasons for this. Again, you can create projects where this here is the focal point. But what I want to do is share with you how you can expand on a scene and really create a full captured real moment, that's something that's frozen in time, one that has characteristics and one that really tells a story. So before I do anything with this, I'm actually going to crop the image down to make it smaller. So from the left, using that crop function, it then highlights the whole image. It's given us these little grey boxes that sit all the way around the perimeter of the actual image itself. Now what we can then do is use this to crop the image and make it whatever size we want. And again, this is going to do it in real time, so I'm going to actually crop it all the way to about, let's have a look, about here. And then this side, I'm going to take it in to about there, okay? Now we've cropped that, which means we can then duplicate it. So if I then right click, copy, and then paste, I've then got two of that identical. But of course, they're not going to work next to each other because that doesn't really match up and it doesn't really give us a realistic scene. So if we were to right click and go to flip, and I flip this vertically, what it's going to then do is actually shadow and mirror this whole design. So you can see there straight away, we've created a full pond with two little jetties coming out onto the waters. And I think this one's great because what it actually does is it means that this line that's going around the bottom of the design actually forms the edge of the pond, but not only that, it actually forms a full circle. So creating a scene like this could not be easier just by using those few simple steps. And think about those other USBs that you've got as well when you're using this as to what you can create with them, whether it's trees, whether it's a forest background, there's loads you can do. I mean, for example, what I'm going to do is just actually group this together using my mouse to drag over the actual design. It's going to highlight both of them, and you'll see here that those are then both highlighted. So we'll group it together, means it's now one file, and we could just move that all in one go. So another example of this, if I just take it to the side, having a look through our scenes here, let's see which one we could use for this. There's actually many that we could do. I mean, let's have a look at this one. Okay, so we've got our scene, beautiful colours, beautiful design, almost a watercolour painting. But if we copy and paste this, and then I flip this one horizontally, look at that. So again, we've mirrored those two together and you've created a huge skyscraper scene with this one. I mean, it is a picture that you could put on the wall. That is a piece of art in its own right before you've even added any of your scene building elements to it. So you could even continue again with this if you wanted to create a repeat pattern design. With doing that, what you would then do is then paste again, but then you could flip this one horizontally and then you could match it to that side. So look how then you've created this going all the way around here. And then again, if I zoom out even further, you could paste again and put that one to this side. So there's how you can create repeat borders. And essentially what we've done there is almost created an island in the middle of these two channeling rivers and lakes, which I think is a great big portrait. I mean, that there is something you could print off in any size you wanted and have put in frames. So I'm just going to highlight over this and I'll select it all to delete, and we'll go back to this one here, which is our pond. At the moment it's bigger than A4, so we can actually tailor it down, make it the size we want, but I'm going to zoom right in for the purpose of this project so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So going into scene building, you've got all of these really playful characters to work with, and they are so cute. They've got so much charisma, they've got so much life to them in their own right. So I'm going to build in some little bits into the background. I'm going to copy and paste that branch, and then I'm going to flip that one again and sit that to this side. Let's have a look just here like that. And then let's have a look, which one should we bring in? I've got Sail Away, which is a brilliant, brilliant image. I think this is fab. And what you can do is actually bring the puddles in, like the ripples here on the water. And if you then bring the boat to the front, you can sit it on the top like that. And if you actually use these and fade the edges down to blend them in, what we can do is go into our softer edges, circular, and fade it down slightly. And that way you can see that it just gently sits into the background like that. So you've got those ripples that then form a more natural setting, and you can actually take the opacity down on it ever so slightly. So it's subtle, but you've just got that realism, that added touch, which again is one of those that instantly makes it a really wholesome project. So as I'm going through this, I'm gonna have a little look at what we've got. I mean, look at this character. I mean, he, I think, just has to go there straight away. I mean, it's brilliant. Now, what I'm going to do as I'm building this project, I'm actually going to duplicate the background and print one of those blanks, and Mel can use that to build her SVG files on top of. But for the purpose of this, I think we just need to keep on building because it just looks brilliant. I mean, straight away, what we can do there is then put the ripples. I'm going to bring him then to the front. So we've got the ripples now around the fish. We could have him down here at the front. He's sat on a little stump. We've actually sat on a bottle top, sorry. You can see there his little bottle top upside down. We could have him here at the front, but let's bring in some more foliage. So we've got our bulrushes, and again, these are great for adding that frame to any scene. And I'm going to have these all actually standing in the foreground to really capture the edge. So if I just copy and paste with these, I'm going to bring those down and then just slightly put them into a cornered angle. And then let's paste again. And then I'm going to shape those so they're actually pointing inwards from this side. And again, this is allowing you to really build and extend on the overall design, maybe tailoring some down, making them slightly smaller to give different sizes. And bulrushes, you know, bulrushes, I did buy a bulrush plant for our pond at home, and it never really did anything. Apparently they can be quite awkward to get growing, but then once they take off and become established, they're really, really hardy. So it's one thing I've never really managed to master yet, but I think this year might be the year. I'm going to try it again. They're ever so expensive, that's the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then bring, let's have a look. Oh, he's just fabulous. I mean, look at him. We're going to bring him in. He's going to sit just there. And then we've got lily pads in here as well, floating on the surface. So let's have a look. I'm going to use this one, which is more of a sagey green. That sort of goes with the scene that we're creating. The other one's more of a forest tone. So if we sit this here, we could maybe sit him on top of it. And then we could have a look and see which other characters we've got. Let's have a look here. I mean, he's great. I mean, what if he was sat on top of there? Let's make the lily pad slightly smaller. Bring him into the scene, and we could have him facing this direction. So we've got two either side. I think it's one of them, it just looks fabulous. And as the story starts to build, we could have little fishing Pip, I think, on this little jetty. Here on this side, I think Pip needs to be sat inside the boat at some point as well. And as well, the hat is brilliant. You could then put the hat, little paper boat, on any of them if you wanted to. I think which just looks great. So I'm going to take this one off. And then as I'm building up on the scene, I've still got these edges here, which I'm going to snip off eventually. But before we do that, you've even got borders. Now that means what we could do is take these before we add any of that and actually increase that edge by adding in a full border, almost so that you're peering through the greenery into the scene. So this is it. With Minecraft Studio, when you're working with card and you maybe glued that layer down, with this, you can revert any process. So there's nothing really that is irreversible. Every single step that you do, you can build on it every single time. So I'm going to pop these actually now back inside here in different angles. So it looks like they're underneath that foliage. Put some of that there. Let's bring that one round to here. Just like that. And it just comes to life straight away. There we go. And then let's see what other little bits we've got here. I think we'll put the little basket here towards the top of the jetty. And then look at all of these little elements. How cute are these? All of the little fly fishing bits and bobs. There's so much to work with in here. But as you're building with it, again, it will continue to come to life. So I'm going to put some more lily pads into the background. I'm going to scale these down, and then I'm just going to add a splash, so to speak, of colour. These pale pinks will look really nice in here, and just introduced some really nice pops of colour because we've got quite a lot of green going on. So I'm going to bring this down. Here we go. And I think I'm going to put 3 of these in here. There we go, another one of the pale pink. Just pop that one there. And then I think I'm going to do a smaller one going up towards the back of the design, just in this back corner. And again, remember, you can be using these with your SVGs, with your dies, which does all come within that collection, which is brilliant. But again, if you're a Minecraft Studio lover and user, this is absolutely for you. And you can use this if you wanted to without the dies. It really is up to you. You can do whatever you want to with it. So as I've got these bits of bulrushes overhanging these edges, I'm going to actually highlight over that with my mouse, just like that. I'm going to group everything together. So you'll see within our layers here, we have got it grouped. all individually, but then selecting that group function welds it into one file, which means we can introduce this, which is a basic shape. Now these are digital punches, and if you hover these over the overall design, it acts a little bit like an electronic die, okay? So it will snip off any extra areas. So if we select keep the inner, delete off that digital punch, it is now neatened all of that up for us. So you could put this on here, just like that, print it out as it is. That could be a card front, it could be going in a frame, but then what you could do is you could copy and paste the whole thing, okay? So I'm actually going to copy and paste that. I'm going to take the colour of it right down, okay? I'm going to enlarge it slightly and send it to the back. And I'm just going to create, instead of using black card, I'm going to create a faux matten layer. There we are. So I'm just going to sit that underneath, and that black then ties absolutely everything in together. And then of course you could trim around this just at your own leisure to then have a white border as well. You could use whatever colour you wanted to, but that there just frames it really nicely and makes it solid. So you can see, just zooming in there, some of the detail that we've been able to capture in this design. And of course, the background it is, before I've added any of these elements, I'm going to print that one out for Mel to use. But that there is how to build a real story, and it really tells the journey of Once Upon a Time. So I really do hope you've enjoyed the video today. I know I've absolutely loved putting that together. Again, it's one of them that really reminds me of those books I used to have growing up. Every single one would have a quirk to it. Again, whether it's the animals or all of the little bits of wilderness as found foliage and little bits left over by the human beings, like the frog sat in a bottle top or using a little bit of newspaper left over to make a hat. I think it's brilliant, and I know you're absolutely going to love it. So thank you so much for joining me for the video. Again, check out the rest of the videos to go along with this fabulous collection from Two Red Robins, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button, subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notification of all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.